Ladies and gentlemen, my name is BrendenPlayz and welcome back to another edition of Total Extreme Wrestling. And we, of course, continuing our TNA playthrough. Quick look at last edition of Impact that we had. It was a 79 rated show, 2.0 rating, our best rating so far. We had Muhammad Hassan and Jeff Jarrett up against Christian and Jeff Hardy. Of course, Muhammad Hassan and Jeff Jarrett won. Then we had Sting come in at the end and do the big save to save Christian and Jeff Hardy from a beatdown. We also had the debut of Loki, who had a terrific match, a classic really, with Fallen Angel. So that was a 90 rated match. So everything is going along really well. We've got one more episode of Impact to go, and then we have our Against All Odds pay-per-view. Now here's a couple little things that we want to address before we, I guess, get ready for that pay-per-view. Now one of them is our storyline between Raven and Tess. Now, last episode of Impact, we had Raven get beaten down by Tess. Well, last time we saw them, I don't know if it was last episode or the one before, but we saw Raven get beaten down by Tess and A-Train. Basically, he's all alone. He needs a partner, and at the pay-per-view, we're going to have Tess and Albert versus Raven and someone else. So, here's my dilemma. We need to find a partner for Raven, and I'm looking at my roster, and I'm looking along at the side, you know, the babyface side of things, of course, and I'm trying to find who is the right person. So we'll narrow it down a little bit further. Now we got to, you know, knock away for you guys here. So AJ, you know, he'd be great, but he's already in a rivalry. Billy Gunn's in a rivalry. The Dudley Boys, they're in a rivalry as well. Christian, he's busy. Fallen Angel's busy. You know, basically everyone is kind of doing something. You know, the only guy who's really available, who's got some decent popularity, is R-Truth, but I just don't see Raven and R-Truth as a good combination. You know, Tanahashi, too low popularity. Lance Hoyt, you know, too low as well. So I don't think we have anyone on the roster that really could come in and play and fit in that role. So here's my idea. I'm thinking about signing someone for a short term to come in and be Raven's partner for the short term, and maybe just for this storyline. So now I was looking at Raven and I found some potential tag team partners. The first is Stevie Richards. So Stevie Richards, unfortunately, is written in a contract with WWE. So he's already signed to the WWE. Now, of course, he has been a tag team partner with Raven over the years and actually won tag titles with him. So that would have probably been the best pick, is Stevie Richards. Good popularity too, so we miss out on him. The other one that he has been a tag champion, I believe, or at least a tag partner with, was Perry Saturn. So he's an option. 54 popularity. Not amazing, but good enough. Just good enough. I mean, considering Tess is only, 61, it doesn't really matter too much. So not too bad. So he's one that he's on the maybe list, and he's still, you know, his stats are still pretty good. They're still pretty good, so he would still be a decent option. The other one, you know, looking more at the ECW side of things, Tommy Dreamer. He's obviously in a written deal with WWE, so we can't get him either. The Sandman, he's my next pick. 42, he's old. Look at his stats, they're dreadful. Every single stat is just terrible. Terrible, he's awful. Good popularity, but everything else about him is terrible. You know, okay mic ability, that's it. But you wouldn't have Sandman talk instead of Raven in a feud anyway, so that'd be nuts. So yeah, terrible. I mean, we could bring him in, it would make sense, but we're going to have a stinker of a match. So, we'll pass. Now, the one that I think could be the favorite in terms of people that I feel like could be associated with Raven is Sabu. And good popularity. We know Sabu, you know, look, he's a spot monkey, yes. But good stats still, even though he's 41. And decent star quality as well, that always helps. Everything, you know, if we could have a brawl type of match, that would help him, or a hardcore match. So I feel like Sabu might be the one. I feel like he might be the pick. We can bring him in. Probably, more than likely, we're going to have Tess and A-Train win. So that's another thing. We don't want to sacrifice one of our own guys. If we brought Sabu in for a 2-month deal, we could bring him in, you know, have him lose to TNA, the tag team, and then see you later. Although Sabu would be really good, I think, for the X Division. So we can bring Sabu in for a short period of time, evaluate his performances, and go from there. Now, the other alternative is, let's just forget about any connection with Raven. and let's just go for someone that has good popularity. Now, the options, I mean, you know, DDP, we could bring him in. You know, he's an old-time guy, 75 popularity, would break one of our owner goals, so that's the only downside there. Ken Shamrock, you know, we could bring him in easily. It wouldn't break any goals or anything like that. So he's obviously an option. 41, we'd still get a good match out of him, no doubt. I think we would. So, but again, no real connection with Raven. The other options, Scott Hall. So obviously, you know, being in WCW with Raven, fair enough. But 47 would break one of our owner goals, and more than likely would be intoxicated during the match. So yeah, that would bring the match quality down. So that probably won't be a good option. And a few other guys that kind of shortlisted as well was Mike Awesome. I think, you know, he still is available and still a pretty good worker. And I think of Mike Awesome now, and I think of his ECW One Night Stand match and how awesome that match was. So I really kind of, no pun intended, want to see him, want to do something with him at some point. But yeah, so good popularity, good stats, but the connection Raven not quite there. And then we could go really out there and just go, screw it, let's bring in Matt Morgan. The thing, you know, the thing with Mike Awesome and Matt Morgan is they're both massive guys, and A-Train and Test are both very big guys themselves. So you could obviously have them as a good matchup, a good partner, because I guess when you think about it, would Raven bring in one of his friends, or would maybe he like to bring in someone who's similar size to kind of even the score? That's how you're going to have to kind of look at it. But Matt Morgan and Mike Awesome would be good picks. And the other one was Buff Bagwell, but, you know, Buff Bagwell, not much there. So I think we're going to go with Sabu. I think he might be the best choice. So we'll bring him in, and we'll sign him to I guess the lowest we can get him is a 3-month deal. So at least we could bring him in, use him for this rivalry, which might go for another month or two at max, and then we can maybe have a few X Division matches with him there, and then move him along, unless he's doing well. And if, you know, we got no more use for him, we can always release him straight away. So that's that. So that was it. Now, we really want to bring in a developmental. We really need some kind of developmental. I mean, asking everyone around to please sign up. I mean, I asked the NWA, I asked PWG, every, like, potential company to be affiliated with us. But I just can't get them. They just don't have any interest. You know, the other bit of piece of news before we move on, New Japan, they've actually dropped from a national to a cult. So that's big news. And we've actually jumped to number 4 in the rankings. We've jumped over CMLL, so that's good news as well. But anyways, back to it. There really isn't many companies. I mean, Wrestling Society X, remember that was the MTV thing? I thought about maybe using them. I really wanted someone that had actual TV, a TV program, and the one that did was Anarchy Wrestling. Now, that's not a bad option, but they wouldn't budge either. They had no interest in kind of working with us as well. So yeah, there really is not much there. Really not a lot we can really utilize. So the alternative is we just start our own. But here's the issue. We've only got 2.5 million. We don't want to be spending all of our money because we need, just in case, you know, something goes wrong, we need to have that money in the back so we can, you know, pay our talent and we don't go in any danger zones. Because bringing in a developmental territory, you know, basically, if you want a good one, it'll cost 5 million. If you want a decent one, 3 million. A pretty good one, 2 million. And anything lower than that is a small. You could get a large small from 1 million, and that will probably be decent. Anything less than that is, you know, probably you're not going to get much out of it. But I think maybe a large small might be a good idea. So we might do that. We may do that, and that, you know, that way we still have 1.5 million left, and then we can start bringing in some lesser known guys and training them up and having them work in our territory. The one little last thing before we get to our show is this man. We all know him, Shinsuke Nakamura. I was just having a look at some potential guys to bring in, and he's currently on hiatus. I think he was going to do MMA or something like that, or took some time off. I don't know. But look, obviously 82 popularity in Japan, it's massive, it's huge. But he's not working anywhere, he's unemployed. So if we wanted to, we could sign him to a written deal and he could be ours right now. and that would be big. That would be big. And I think that'd be fantastic. And obviously he's only 25. We know what a star Nakamura ended up being. So I think we could do that. At worst, we could get him into a pay-per-appearance deal, and then we could probably, let New Japan or someone else, sign him up as well. But we don't, potentially we don't want New Japan offering him a big deal and getting him a written deal or any of the other Japanese promotions, because once he comes back, once he's not on hiatus, I'm sure everyone's going to look to snap him up. So, you know what? I'm going to do it. Let's screw it. Let's get him. Now, we'll get him to a moderate deal. We'll give him 5,000 and we'll give him 2 years, because we'll see how he goes, because he's very low popularity for America. And, we'll see. But we'll give him the $5,000 deal. He may not be interested. If he's not, then we can up that up and, see if we can convince him to come to us. But other than that, that's really all there is. And I guess we better get ready to book our final show, the go-home show, before our next pay-per-view. So that should be good. And just have a quick look at the crowds. Our next show is going to be in the Mid-Atlantic region. And, we're going to draw nearly 4,000, 3,500. Most areas we're getting at least 3,000. Some of them are in the 2s. And obviously the Southeast is up to 6,000. So we are actually drawing pretty good crowds. And that's good numbers, and that's good enough numbers, I think, to kind of, keep the money coming in. So we'll go ahead and we'll book this show, and we'll come back and I'll show you the results. Okay, so we have booked the show, and we've got Christian Cage opening it up with a promo, gets interrupted by Jeff Jarrett. Petey Williams and Billy Gunn have a match. Now, with the Raven thing, we're going to go with a bit of a swerve, maybe. We've got Raven searching for a tag team partner for the pay-per-view. Monte Brown, who we haven't really got anything for at the moment. He's a heel, but he agrees to do it. And basically, with that as well, the idea is kind of planted there that he can't be really trusted. Rhino then has a match against Alex Shelley. James Mitchell's on commentary there to advance that storyline. Gail Kim has a promo against Christy Hemming. Then she has a match against ODB, beating ODB. Jim Cornette makes a fatal 4-way for a championship match. We're going to do, instead of doing Muhammad Hassan and Jeff Hardy one-on-one, because that was a bit of a stinker, we're going to make it a fatal 4-way to determine the next number 1 contender. So Hassan, Jeff Hardy, Rhino, and Abyss, and a fatal 4-way. That will protect Muhammad Hassan and Jeff Hardy, and also, it'll be a big match, and we satisfy 2 rivalries in one there. So then we have the Raven and Monte Brown match, and in the match, basically Monte Brown gets himself disqualified, and then after the match, Monte, Test, and A-Train beat down on Raven. Now it says here New Alliance. We're not going to do a New Alliance, but that was the closest storyline that I found. So basically, the 3 of them, they beat down on Raven, and basically we need Raven to find a new partner. Raven's got to find a partner for the pay-per-view, and hopefully we can get Sabu. And then the main event is Loki versus AJ Styles, and that's basically just to set up for the other Fatal 4. We're actually going to have 2 Fatal 4-ways, aren't we, for the X Division Championship this time. Loki and AJ. We saw Loki and Fallen Angel, how good that went, so why not Loki and AJ? I'm sure that'll be really good as well. Just to, we might maybe add a pre-show match. We're not using all of our guys enough, probably. We have a lot of guys who are kind of sitting around doing nothing, so we might give a few guys an opportunity just to be involved. So, for example, we might give Roderick Strong a match against Shark Boy, and give them 10 minutes on the pre-show, give Roddy Strong a win, just to kind of get a few more of our guys being used a little bit more, because they're probably sitting around doing nothing isn't helping that many. We might give our women another match as well. So we've got Natalya. We changed it from Natty Neidhart to Natalya. I think we all know her as that, so we might as well just keep her as what we know, and it's simpler and easier. And we'll give her a match. Who can we give her a match against? Sarah Del Rey. So we might actually have Natty win that one as well. So there we go. Just to use a few more, and especially our women, we need to kind of get them started as well. So yeah, so let's run the show. Quick analysis. I actually didn't really know about the analysis button, so a lot of you guys were alerting me in the comments. A good way to check if I haven't kind of satisfied a criteria is to check the analysis, so I appreciate your feedback there. So the analysis is all good. Let's run the show. So 66 between Roddy and Shark Boy, 60 between Natalia and Cedric. That's good. That's good. You know, both of them 56 performance. So I'm happy about that. Great start, 89 promo to kick things off between Christian and Jeff Jarrett. We actually do need to change Christian's gimmick. Now, the reason why I didn't change is because I thought we were going to turn him back to heel, but you know, he has a cocky gimmick which won't suit as a babyface. So we're going to go with the gimmick of, you know, he's the best in the business. So he believes that he's the best in the world. He looks to back it up in the ring. And yeah, it's too soon after his last one. But here's the thing. If we don't change it, he'll always get downgraded for a bad gimmick. So at least it's below average, but it should improve. And it should be better than having the cocky one anyways. Petey Williams gets Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn got the win there. Raven's promo here, 67, not bad. We gave Jeremy Borash something to do. I really got nothing for him, but we've got him in a written deal, so we have to kind of use him. So he can be like the backstage guy. Rhino with a victory over Alex Shelley, that was good, 75. Gail Kim, 62 promo. Oh, okay. So a bit of a rough match here against ODB. I actually thought this would be a really good match for women's standards anyway, and it actually was not. 41, so that's rough. And a bruised thigh for Gail Kim, so that could mean that she might not be available for the pay-per-view. She should be okay though. And here's the Fatal 4-Way angle. So good to have Jim Cornette. Obviously can give us those good angles for the authority figure. And here's the tag team match, 65 rated. And Monte Brown looks like he needs a gimmick change too, so but not bad, you know, for what we wanted. And we know we had an odd combination between the heels and babyfaces, so I knew the match was going to get downgraded. And obviously Raven being on drugs does not help either, so that's really annoying. And Test nearly injured him with a botched move. Okay, that's not good. And then there was the beatdown afterwards, and then here's the promo for the Fatal 4-Way X Division match. And the main event, only 79. There you go. We did try and go for a technical match because I wanted to satisfy one of the criterias, and maybe that affected it because it wasn't the right thing to give them. So maybe we messed up there, but look at their performances, 90 and 92, so excellent. So regardless, that's fine. Loki's getting better at his gimmick too, that's good news. So 79, overall 79 rated show. I'm happy with that. It's just before the pay-per-view. Soon we want to try and start getting those 70s into the 80s and start being more consistent in the 80s. But we're happy with the 79 for now. Now we can get ready for the pay-per-view coming up. So a quick little look. 2.04 ratings. So our TV ratings continue to increase. So doing well. And a few guys not happy with Raven being on the drugs. Quick look at the medical update, because obviously Gail Kim going down. 3 days, so she'll be fine. So she'll be fine for the pay-per-view, no doubt. 4 days until our next one. And yeah, so you see Raven wasted on drugs. I mean, what can we do to fix Raven? We haven't got him in a written deal. We can't get him in a written deal, so we can't send him to rehab. Oh yeah, and a few other guys looking to sign. Obviously Jazz is one we want to get, so we want to bring her in for the women's division. Sabu and Nakamura, of course, as we know about that. So not a bad rating at all. Not bad at all. And you know, we're at a good stage. You know, obviously our next pay-per-view, we've got some good rivalries going in, some good guys, you know, starting to improve, some talent starting to get better. Oh, here we go. Test up to 64 popularity, so that's good. Maybe Raven dipped down. He might have dipped down a little bit. Monte Brown, have a look at Monte, 66 still. I don't think he dipped. He might have dipped just by one. And A-Train, he's gone up as well to 67. So that's good news. Obviously, we do have big plans for Test, who hasn't quite proven himself yet, but you know, that's good that his popularity is increasing, and obviously having good star power about him does help to increase that. So yeah, Test and A-Train moving up the ranks, which is really good, and I think I want them to be one of our top tag teams at some point. So they didn't have a bad match, to be fair. They didn't have a bad match against Raven, and obviously Monte Brown, you know, odd combination, Raven being on the drugs and whatever, that's not going to help. So, you know, obviously bringing in Sabu, he may not be exactly clean and, you know, the perfect guy to bring in for that regard either. So I think regardless, the way whenever we use Raven, it's not going to be perfect, but we just have to kind of roll with it. But yeah, so we've got a few more days to go to the pay-per-view. Not a lot else is really happening other than perhaps signing Sabu and Nakamura to deals, and Jazz as well. And look, our women's division is a work in progress. We'll probably crown our first knockout champion at the next pay-per-view, which I think will be good. Probably Gail Kim might be the best option. Oh, and here we go, Frankie Kazarian. He's one guy that I forgot about, but I want to sign badly because we know how good Kazarian is, and we know all about the Kazarian and Christopher Daniels tag team, which I would love to bring in and start that tag team up. So we need to sign Kazarian. We definitely need to sign Kazarian, and Tracy Brooks is certainly happy about it. So is Christy Hemme. Okay, so let's get Kazarian in here, and we actually can get him to a written deal. So we might give him a 4-year deal, and we'll give him good money. He deserves some good money, so we'll give him a good deal. He's not getting a bonus though. We're a bit stingy in that regard. So we can get Kazarian in, and then we can start that tag team, add him to the X Division as well. Gives us another tag team, gives us another good member of the X Division. And here we go, Nakamura. He has signed, so we have got Nakamura to a written deal for 2 years. So there you go. He's obviously one of those guys that we probably will need to bring in as a developmental prospect, maybe because of his popularity being so low. It's going to be hard to use him, and obviously we won't be able to use him in any real capacity other than maybe a job guy, which is a shame for Nakamura. We know how good he is, but look at that popularity in Japan is terrific, but just everywhere else is not good. So it'd be hard to bring him in and use him in any other capacity, but we need to get him started. He has to start somewhere, and we may as well start him as soon as possible. So we can bring him in. We've got him now. Whether we put him in developmental when we start that up, maybe next episode we might create the developmental, whether we do that or we just put him on TNA and we just have him in pre-show matches and job matches and just try our best to build him up from there. And that might be the fastest way to get it done, but we'll see. And let's have a look. They've actually made a revival bid to Kazarian, but he's not interested in them, so he should sign with us, and that's good. And we're up to our pay-per-view now, so we're up to the Against All Odds pay-per-view. We are ready to go for the pay-per-view, which is good. And yeah, so we may leave it at that. We may do the pay-per-view next time, and we'll do that next episode. So we do have the Knockouts Championship now. We have created that. So like I said, the Gail Kim and Christy Hemme match that we probably will have won't be amazing, but we might make Gail Kim the first champion there. We could create the child company now, considering it's an extra time, so we might do that. And we'll look at our tag teams. Another tag team will really help because we do have a lot of tag teams, and we need to start using this one as well. Aries and Roderick Strong as a tag team. I keep forgetting that they're a team, but we do have some really good tag teams. Adding in Bad Influence, or whatever you want to call them, would be really handy, even though they have no prior tag experience at this point in time. So, but I think them as a tag team would be handy. So we'd have to bring in Kazarian as a babyface, and just take a look at Nakamura at his stats. So he's obviously very strong as a babyface, doesn't have a gimmick assigned to him, so we do need to give him a gimmick at some point. And like I said, the stats are terrific, really terrific. So it's unfortunate, like I said, we don't have anything for him, but we can create a developmental territory. And here's the thing, I don't really know what to call it, so we might kind of leave it to suggestions for now. But I was thinking to do something with the NWA, because since we don't actually have the alliance anymore, but we could kind of start that alliance, we might maybe do NWA Florida. We could change it, of course, but NWA Florida, put it in the southeast because that's where TNA is located, and that's where we're at. And we'll make it a small. Will cost us $1 million, but it will be a good promotion. We might even be able to get a few extra guys coming in. I think that we could maybe sign a good owner towards it to really give us a big name to go down and work there. So we'll do that. The company's initials, NWA FL or NWA. Yeah, we'll go FL. NWA FL. And 1 million. We're in. So we've got it. We've got our own developmental. We need to assign an owner towards it. Now, we could either make it a strictly developmental where it's our guys only that work there, or a child company where they will sign other people to come in and work the territory as well. So that's, you know, that's a tough one. But for now, we're going to assign an owner. So with an owner, you know, I think it's always best, you know, you can try to kind of cheat the system a little bit. If you can get a good name to come in and run the thing, you can kind of use them in some capacity as well, and they can be a wrestler as well as the owner. But there really isn't anyone that we could really bring in that could fill that role. Maybe DDP. So we could make DDP the owner of that, and then he can work in there as a main event guy with our young talents, and we can give him that job as well. So we might do that. So we'll bring him in, and he only wants to work major TV, so we're not going to have anything else really other than major TV. So there you go. So we'll let him do that and assign the booker as well. So we might be able to get someone else different to be our booker, and let's take a look if we can get anyone that could be handy. Really probably not. Maybe Adam Pearce, for example. In terms of current wrestlers, not a lot going around. But what you could do on the flip side is perhaps bring in someone like, you know, someone I actually want to bring in is Don Callis because of his mic skills. It's 92, 84 charisma, 90 acting, and that's ridiculously good. That's very, very valuable. So I wouldn't mind bringing him in to be a manager for us, but at the same time, him being a booker is not a bad idea. Very good reputation as well, which is something you do want. His business skills isn't great, so that's technically what you kind of want. And for this role, you want someone that can have good business skills to fit the role if you want to have the best, you know, successful booking and ownership. But, you know, it doesn't really matter that much in the end. So we could get him in. He could maybe be a manager, if not a color commentator, which is what he's doing right now. The other guy could be Jimmy Hart, but not as valuable either, I don't think, to be honest. So we might bring in Don Callis. We'll give him that role. So not in the ring, and let's see if he accepts that offer. There you go. So the new head booker. So DDP, Don Callis, boom, straight in. And right away, we might send Nakamura down, and we can actually send him down to improve his stats. So that's good. So we can send him down there to improve, and we might maybe even send some of our women down there as well. But we'll get to that later on, and I'll show you guys who I've sent down there. But for now, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any suggestions, remember to leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you do leave a like on it. Next up, our Against All Odds pay-per-view. I'll show you all of that, and we'll see how we go. We want to try and redeem ourselves. We had a bad first pay-per-view. Let's see if we can have a good second one. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video.